Gunalchéesh Carol, Hachil Chas Yuchatangi, Yedig to de Yuchat do a salk, Ka Hendis Heights you do a salk. Doctain Tan Shower, I had Chukanidi Yadi I had. Ya ish Kak Saka you do a salk, Ka Kashdia the Ka. Ya itla Skanda art you do a salk. Ya a Shlief Kash Keen you do a salk, Ka Sada Sake. You do a salk. Kagwan pan dashkan, Tlingit Chari dashkan, Lu Ka Chari dashkan, Kiksari dashkan, Yelku de hit. Now let me interpret. Gunalchéesh Carol is how our Tlingit people say, all kind and gentle listeners. Hachil Chas Yuchatangi. I'm going to be speaking in my grandfather's words, or I'm going to speak Tlingit. I'm a Doctain Tan woman, and my Tlingit name is Yeduk Dude and Gunalchéesh. Gunalchéesh means she's priceless. My father was born with the name Kalksaka, and when he was made clan leader for the Chukanidi, he was given the name Kalksaka. My mother's Tlingit name is Skandaat. My grandparents on my father's side, Frances Marks Williams, Kash Kulpeen is her Tlingit name. And my grandmother on my mother's side is Sadasek. I'm a grandchild of the Kagwantan, the Tlingit, the Lukachari, the Kiksari, and I come from the Yelkudehit, the Raven's Nest House. I am also Akakwan Dashkant, grandchild of the Akakwan people. I remember being like 8 or 9, and my mother had a table in our living room, and she made moccasin tops, and she would put things together. She made different things, and I always had my fingers in it. I always was like drawn to it. Go play, you're a child, go play. No, I wanted to do this. And I used to visit a lady that I dearly loved. Her name is Lillian Fawcett. Her Tlingit name is Kewudusche. And she always had beadwork. And she always was creating something, and I was very intrigued with it. And while my mother thought I was out playing, I was actually visiting Lily Fawcett. And I watched her. My grandma Frances always had moccasins or basket weaving. Weaving was her favorite. And my eyes were glued. So I'm going to say that about 9, from the time I was 9, I was drawn to it and started creating things. The first beads I was given from my mother, I just strung them and put little flowers on them and made a necklace. And it was satisfying, but it wasn't what I was after. And so I found a pattern for a seagull and a whale, and I beaded those. And it was hard to get supplies, very hard, but people would give me things and I would just be at it. So it's been a lifetime of learning. I can safely say that I can do beadwork, and I learned raven's tail weaving and cedar bark weaving, spruce root weaving. The only thing that I won't do is carving, because you gotta protect your fingers. And so I've tried it, and then I decided, okay, I don't need to do everything. But, and I thought for a long time that I would do chilkat blankets, but it could take years to create one blanket. And I wanted to produce more than that. So actually my passion is the beadwork. This is my father's design and what you've seen on the panel that he created. And these two pieces are going to my family, so they'll have my dad's design. I've worked to create work that I want it to be remarkable. I want people to feel good when they're wearing it. And I've learned really good tricks. My aunt Emma Marks was noted for her skills. She did fabulous beadwork, and she was not shy about telling me different techniques. My Auntie Mary Johnson also was very dedicated and had quite a few disciplines, and I would watch her and I would bead with her, and she was the one that instilled it in me. Don't take shortcuts. Don't try to get it done fast. Make it wonderful. And so it's been a lifetime of learning, and I enjoy learning. I'm not going to say that I know all there is to know about it. But I'm happy to keep on learning. But I also have a passion to pass it on. Why we have the rules we have about beadwork and native art. Yeah, I have here what our people have created called the Four Seasons flower, and it's designed for the men. It is represents the seasons, and it always starts with the brown. There's always two colors of green. The white represents the snow, and these are the colors that are always put together. I learned this from my mother and my Auntie Emma, and it had to look a certain way. I couldn't just put it together and call it good. And they were very scrutinizing to make sure that that it had a good look to it. And when I do beadwork, I have to have enough beads, and I can't just say, oh, I've got 2 hanks here. No, I have to tell myself it's probably going to take 8 hanks, and I can't say, I think this is the right color red. No, I have to know that this is going to be the color, and I can't second guess it. But some of the rules I was talking about is I will see some of the work that'll have red around the eye. That's actually a faux pas. It's not recognized. We don't put red ever around the eye. The color to use around the beadwork is blues or greens. When I started, my Auntie Mary said, "Did you put your signature in?" And I go, well, am I going to write on it? And then I realized what she did. She would take, my Auntie Emma and my Auntie Mary would take 2 beads, and they would know that this is where they put it. This is their signature. And so they were challenging me to find my signature. And what I came up with is I like to put these bronze color in the middle of the eye, and that's become my signature. So every time I'm doing beadwork, I'm doing that. I had a love to just create something, and I was surrounded by Native artists. My father did carving, my mother did beadwork. My father did not like my mother to do Native art. In fact, he took her can of beads and threw it down the beach. And My mother often talked about that, and he said to her, "I'm the breadwinner. You take care of the family and the children. That I make enough money." And my mother would make moccasin tops and sell it, 2 of them, for 25 cents. And if she made $1, that she was wealthy. And she would wait for the babies to fall asleep, and then she would do a little beadwork. And so my dad threw her beads down the beach, and my sister Loretta went down to the beach and retrieved them. And she was a little heartbroken, but she understood the welfare of the children. And I often heard that story, and I said, "Dad, you stopped." "Mom," he said, "I make good money." And I said, "It's not about the money." So my mother was allowed to keep doing her work, and how proud I was when I saw a piece that my grandmother was wearing, and she said, "This is my gift from my daughter-in-law," and put it on, and I was seeing it. When you are a Tlingit, there are so many things to do, so many things to learn to sing and dance, to work on the food, to create the artwork, to know the stories, to know the language, to know who your relatives are, but mostly to know who you are, and the importance of each individual person. And when I was learning, it was really said to me how much, you're carrying it on. Thank you, you're carrying it on. But what I can see is our children, our people weren't really willing to participate until they had regalia. And the regalia was almost like the license to participate. It's like, "No, I can't dance. I don't have a blanket." And so, once they had that blanket, they could participate. And I could see that people wanted to be a part of things, and it all started with the regalia. There are people that awaken this in me, and they just let me infringe upon their time. My Auntie Emma Marks, for one, and my Auntie Mary Johnson. And I loved spending time with Ida Kadashan. Her Tlingit name's Hoonah. And she was very good about how she took care of her beads, and I learned a lesson from that. When I do beadwork, everything is everywhere. And she would put everything in one container, and it was on a plate, and she'd do her beadwork, and then when she was done, she'd tie it up and put it away. And to me, that was respect right from the beginning. So I've learned to do that. I've learned to not lay out all my work and just use what I'm going to use, and stay with that. I've had that gift of learning from our elders, and I've had that gift of seeing how they would put things together and how they would make it something viable, something wonderful. And I've always, I've always loved it. I think the best gift that I've been given is that I was born Tlingit, and I've always loved it. Every time I have a question, kakatlat, I call my cousin. In our culture, there aren't any cousins. She's my sister. But Florence Shete, Emma Mark's daughter, she's a remarkable bead worker. And if I have a question on how to put something together, I can contact her. I've worked with Alice Williams from Sitka, who did a majority of the beadwork for the dance groups there. I've watched Mary James from Yakutat, who created a lot of the regalia for the Mount St. Elias dancers. I've watched their techniques. As soon as I know that someone does beadwork, I've did my best to learn from them. I walked in at Celebration, I love to tell this story, and my cousin Paul Marks, his Tlingit name is Kinkaudanique, and he was the coordinator for Celebration. So we were very happy and proud of him, and we brought some jarred fish to make fish bread sandwiches for the elders' room. And my mother and I were staying at the Driftwood Lodge, and we made the sandwiches, and we took this huge box to Celebration. And if you've ever been to Celebration, you can walk just a little ways and you're meeting loved ones. And there was a lady by the name of Bessie Vizaya, and it was a crowded place, noisy, but she was sitting at a table like this, and she had all her work out, and she said, "Come here." And so I followed her, and I put the box of sandwiches next to her, and she showed me how to bead leaves, how she does it, and I was so enthralled with it, how she put it together, how she designed her leaves. And she said, "You'll do this from now on. Do it this way. I know who you are." And I always do my leaves that way. And I always make sure that I mention, I learned this from Bessie Vizaya. Now, what I love about that is, when was the last time you heard these names? Lily Fawcett, Mary Johnson, Bessie Vizaya, Emma Marks, Mamie Williams, Eva Davis. When was the last time? So through artwork like this is where I learned it. This is who taught me. This is who said that this is the way we must do it. We're also keeping those wonderful names alive, those wonderful people. And that, to me, that's one of the treasures about doing Native art, is you're carrying it on. This is how he taught me. This is what he said to me. And then that name comes up. And Bessie Vizaya taught me a valuable lesson. And she said, you try to do it this way and it becomes clumsy, but if you do it this way, it's easy. And I loved hearing that license, hearing that that it's okay to do it this way. And sometimes that's what our people need to hear. It's okay if you do it this way. They need to hear that, we do have disciplines, we do have rules about things that we have with our artwork, but there is a time where we can break a rule and say, you can do it like this, and it'll be fine. And an example of how she taught me is what I put when I put the split U in this. She said, don't let the beads tell you what they want. And it just made sense to me. So yeah, that's what I try to teach. That's what I try to teach the children that I'm working with. And we do have children that they were a lot like me when I was their age. They can't wait to learn more. They can't wait to do more, and it's really exciting to watch. My niece is a member of the dance group. I'm trying to think of it. And she wants a headband, so I'm making one for her. And I created a headband that is a raven's head. And I got that idea because I heard our kids talking about beadwork, and one girl said, "Oh, all beadwork is flat." And I thought, not necessarily. So I came up with that idea of that headband to give it dimension, and so I've created a different kind of headband, which is not easy. You sway a little bit away from tradition, and you have to hope that our people will accept it. And I haven't had any complaints about it. But I have seen people complain about, how come you use purple? We don't use purple. And who said you could make that? That's not your tribe. And, I've heard things like that. You look at the children and they're interested, and you know that they have to have regalia. And, I have a nephew, I have a lot of nieces and nephews, but Silas comes to mind. And they put Tlingit music on the TV, and he is an excellent dancer. And he's very inventive, and he just really puts himself out there. And when you see that born in them, you want to support it. So usually that's what inspires me to keep on going. Every time I am doing something, producing something, I can feel myself healing. I can feel myself getting better. So that has helped a lot. I'm going to say that the ravens took about 3 weeks. This took a couple days, just a couple days. And this took a little longer because I decided something needed to be significant about it. Moccasin making is really hard, but I had the people that told me not to put puckers in. I don't want to see a pucker. And how do you make this curve without a pucker? And luckily, Betty Govina showed me her tricks. And I also watched my Auntie Emma, but the one that showed me the best trick was my mother. I think of all the things that I make, moccasin making is the hardest. When I was first introduced to beadwork, the very first thing said to me is, think about it. It's a round bead on a flat surface, but you have to make something out of it. Now let's see what you can do. And, I think I really enjoyed that challenge. And there are a lot of disciplines involved. You don't want to make it too tight. You want to create it so that it has a long life. You want to make sure your materials are right. You don't want to sway away from tradition, the traditional way. What I mean by that is our artwork is all about balance. This is how it all starts. I think I get excited when I know I have the right kind of felt. I like it to be at least 70% wool. I like it to be the certain thickness. It's very hard to get. When I know I have the right kind of thread, and I'm always buying beading needles. But when I know I have the right material, then I know I'm going to do it. I'm going to make something. And I've seen some people create artwork, and it was not the quality, and it's difficult. It's difficult to find, very good quality material. And I asked my aunt about that, and I said, why don't we just fix it so that it will last longer? And she said, then the art will go away. So these are designed not to have a long life, but the knowledge will be passed on. And so this is why this is out of felt, because it's not going to last forever, but the knowledge will be there. And I really like that. I really like that part will be passed on. Who is to say that what my Auntie Emma taught me was taught to her by her great-great-grandmother? And I'm repeating it to children, and who is to say that when, that they will pass it on, and maybe in 30, 40 years, it's still being alive. It's still a part of things. And I learned that when I was learning the Native art. My Auntie Emma, or my Auntie Mary, my grandma taught me this way. And Lily Fawcett, I absolutely love that lady. And you'll do it like this, don't forget me. And when I'm doing something, I do think of these people. They had this incredible gift of creating regalia. And the regalia is still danced with today and thought of fondly. And they've been gone a long time. And, my mother would tell me, she said, I learned this from my grandma Eugenia Gamble. And she did things until she was blind. She became blind. And the love she put in her work. And every artist, I believe, does the same thing. They put their love in it. When I'm teaching children, I say art is self-discovery. You're going to discover something about yourself, and you're going to put it in your work. Maybe you're going to say, oh, I'll do it this way. And that's what you love. And you're going to put it, it's going to come out, what you like. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to express yourself. We're not machines. We're not stamping one thing after another. Maybe you're looking at this and say, oh, I think I would have done it this. Go ahead. Go ahead. But don't talk about it. Do it. Just do it. And when I was working on this is not the first raven that I created. My mother said, your challenge is make each one different. Make each one different but significant. And that is what I love about the art, is that I can make each one a little bit more significant and still make it wonderful. I'm repeating what I heard. I'm repeating what I heard from Alice Williams, from Mary Johnson, from Eva Davis, from my Auntie Emma. I'm repeating what I heard from Kukasat, Florence Shakely. I'm repeating what I heard from my mother. And, it makes me happy. It makes me very happy. I remember sitting with Dolores Churchill at Celebration, and she said, what are you smiling about? And I said, 3 of my blankets just danced in. And she just loved hearing that. And how many of your headbands? And I said, I lost count, but I started to count. And 17 of my headbands were dancing in that dance group. And it was just a good feeling to know that I could make that little bit of contribution. And I'm not standing here alone, doing it all by myself. When I look at something, Auntie Emma showed me this. It's because of my Auntie Mary I put my signature in. And this is my niece Lisa's beads, the one she left before she left us. There it is. And I know that all these people are standing with me, and how sad it would be if these people were never mentioned again. And in this way that, they're kept alive. They're kept alive, and I love that. People have something to offer, and things should be brought out. There are a lot of Native artists in Hoonah, and they enjoy and love their art. They do beautiful work, and they've made a contribution. And unless they're given an opportunity to talk about it or to show it, many of us wouldn't know. And so Huna Heritage doing this, it's such a enlightening. It's such a pleasure for me to see that our people will have this ability. Carly Brown and I did beadwork together. I used to have a gathering where we called it Auntie's House, where people could come and do their work. And the Salvation Army guy said, "Who's the best artist in Hoonah? Who's the best beadworker?" And Carly said my name, and I said her name at the same time. And I said, "Well, we're not going to say we're the best, but we're going to say we do okay. We do okay." And I enjoyed that time with Carly. Carly Brown was not only gifted, but she was very generous with her work. And if someone said, "I need gold beads," here you are. I ran out of white. I said, "I have some." And I've tried to do that. My niece is interested in beadwork, and I made sure she had a good scissor and that she had good material. And Carly Brown, she kept things like this going. She kept it alive. I teach at the school, and our kids recently made blankets. A lot of them made their own blankets, and I taught them step by step how to make a blanket, how to measure yourself, and what kind of material to buy, and everything step by step I taught. And then they're making vests. They're finishing vests, and it's working out really well. We were able to buy felt and have it shipped to Hoonah, and I think we're halfway through our roll. It was a huge, huge roll, and so I'm teaching. It's hard to teach beadwork. Beadwork can take months, and when I know I have beads on felt, I'm up at 4 a.m. when the light is good, and I'm putting in. I tell myself, okay, just do 5 rows, and then maybe 12 rows later, I'm saying, okay, you got to put it away. But Yeah, I teach. I teach our children at the school, and I love that the program is invested in creating a new generation of Native artists. Um, Herb Shakely Jr. is teaching Northwest Coast art, and our children have just sailed with it. And this is not recent. This has gone on for years and years. A couple of decades. I want you to know that I was one of the people that did not want our beautiful culture taught in a classroom. That's not how I learned. I wanted it to be in a pleasant environment. But that was impossible because that our children were at the school. So I had to change my ways, and I learned things. Come sit by me, watch. And that's how I learned. And I didn't want it to be mass-produced. I want lovingly, beautifully taught, and the way I was taught. So we try to instill that when we're teaching. And it's been wonderful. It's been real enjoyable. My dad has, it was a sideline for him. It was not his true profession. My father was, his true passion was actually trapping. And he built his own boat, and he was a fisherman, and he loved that. And he loved hunting. And he loved that he had that strength. And I heard him telling this story. He ran up a hill, and he marveled that he didn't get winded. And my father was an elder in the Presbyterian Church and very devoted to his faith. And when he reached the top of this mountain, he turned around, sat down, and he was in awe of all the beauty around him. And he said he drank it all in, all the beautiful nature around him. And he put his rifle down, and he said nothing should die. Nothing should die anymore. And my mother, a true raven, said, David, you're a beautiful artist. You should keep it up, keep it up. And my father created pieces that are phenomenal. And he did this at a time where being Tlingit, being Native, was not popular. And Amelia's grandfather made bracelets. And people would view these things as quaint. Well, they kept it up, and I believe that they set the path that these artists, these young artists, and we picked it up. We said, oh, I want to learn that. And my mother is actually the brains behind my dad's work. And my dad would look at something he learned from his uncle Willie Marks. But my dad would look at something and say, I think I'll do it this way. And he developed his own style. So the first, I look at something and I'm amazed at what he saw. And he would tell me certain things, and I would just listen to him. And he would say, you see that lady's high cheekbones? That's beautiful. And I started to notice things too. And when I'm teaching beadwork, I always take time to say, I need to tell you this. Your life is going to change. You're not going to be the same person. You're going to look at a Kleenex box and say, ooh, look at that flower pattern. And you're going to look at wallpaper and say, oh, I want that, I want that. You're going to look at something and it's going to come to you that this will work, this will do. And it's going to change your life. I said, I just need to give you that little warning. And it was those little bit of talking that I would hear from all my aunties and my mother and father that this is something wonderful. But I say to myself too that my fingers were yearning to do it. They were itching to get my hands in it. And I look at the work of my Auntie Emma, and I look at, I saw a lot of the work from Rita Blumenstein and Dolores Churchill. Their work is phenomenal. Della Cheney, her work is remarkable, very remarkable. And I look at something that my cousin Florence has created, and she said, well, I was putting this together and I thought, we need this. So that's how it came about. And their work is remarkable. So I'm grateful that I have those people that are willing to share. They're willing to show. They're willing to not be greedy with it, but to teach other people. And those are my heroes, the ones that take something and they take it a little step further, and they go wonderful with it. When I saw the work of Preston Singletary, I was totally flabbergasted. And I just love seeing that. The first day of beading class, Cheyenne Jack said, I want to create this. And my first thought was, you gotta learn to crawl before you can walk. You gotta learn the little steps first. Well, that girl is remarkable. She has a gift. She has a gift of creating beautiful artwork. And I don't think anything's gonna stop her. And it's enlightening to see. If you want to tell me who my heroes are, my family. My father being the first one. When he had a piece placed in the White House, it was a big day for us. And then the Smithsonian Institute wanted to commission him for some of his pieces. And when he represented Alaska in England, in London, England, and he presented Queen Elizabeth with a carved piece, that was a big day. So we know that at Buckingham Palace, there's Tlingit art. There's Tlingit art there. And my father, he was very intelligent. He said, anybody can do this. Anybody. And when they learn Tlingit way, what a compliment. What a nice compliment. So we shouldn't be greedy and afraid to share. We need to share. We have secrets. And that was to me license to okay, this is what I learned. Would you like to learn it? And so that I could teach. And I'm not afraid to say, how did you do that? I would love to learn to do that, so that there is more of a sharing going on. This is kind of a taste of it. There's a beadwork that we beaders call old style. And it was just, I don't know, maybe within the last 50 years that we started to fill up and have everything be filled with beads, where a long time ago it was all outline. And this is an example of old style. And when I see something that I know was created a long, long time ago, I recently spent time with one of my relatives, and I looked at her moccasins and I said, did Alice Johnny make those? And that was to me such a treasure that it was there. And I've seen some of the work evolve. It evolves with the material that's available. And one lady said, how come we didn't ever use purple in our blankets? And I said, because it wasn't available. We used the black and the red and the blues and the greens because that's what was available to us. And so when I see something, that they've taken like metallic material and created something different, I go, oh. But they still use the Tlingit discipline, so it's wonderful. And what is available? There are some things that I'm very firm about that I will say. If I see artwork that doesn't have the eye filled in, I said, it's a ghost pattern now, so put the eye in. And make sure that they do that they've learned to do that. I want to be able to pass it on. All these things that I'd learned, and the how it came about. How did this happen? And my father, he didn't realize what he awakened, but he would say, there's no magic to creating a halibut hook. Put this finger out. Put this finger straight. That's your dimension. And so people were making halibut hooks, and they were using that as the guide. And so I asked him, I said, Dad, the word ovoid is really not a word. It's kind of like a Tlingit English word. And I said, where did that come from? And ovoid, the bone around your eye. That's how that happened. That's how that got created. So the ovoid here, that's what that is. And that's how that happened. And our people instilled what is around them and put it into their work. I always make sure that I teach the kids that what I've learned. The spirit, usually you'll see a face pattern in the center. In our culture, that's called Haginayegi. Haginayegi, the spirit of the raven. That's it. And the spirit of the eagle, the spirit of the thunderbird. That was put in it. And my grandmother my Auntie Emma always used to tell me, do the eye first, give it a life. And so no matter what what I'm doing, I put the eye in first. And all of these tricks, all these things that they had learned, they're passing it on. And I don't want the next generation to guess. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, we have an ovoid. No, this is the reason why we have it. And yes, that's the Tlingit word for this design. And this is why we do it this way. So I'm not just teaching them, how to put beads on felt. I'm also teaching them why we do it the way we do it. I think it's worth passing on to someone. The hardest part for me is if I see someone going very slow, I have to step away from them because I want to show them how they can go do something faster. But I must step away from them because maybe my way is not their way. And I have to allow them to have that license. And so I have to know when to say, okay, can't watch that part. And just let them be comfortable with it. Let them decide if they like it. If I'm all the time hovering over them and trying, no, do this, no, I'm taking away that exploration. I don't want to do that. People can create something, produce something, and it becomes a part of the future. And I really like that part. So, the entire world has been handed this terrible illness. And we shouldn't let it stop us from the beauty that we have right at our fingertips.